And if you want to speak at the Experience Convention in Las Vegas, we're taking submissions. Go to rnrmagonline.com and tell us what you're going to talk about. Hopefully you'll be on this stage in Vegas. Finally, tonight the industry party kicks off at 5:30. Be sure to stick around for that and fun, and you can network with your peers. Thank you for that. All right, let's introduce our today's second speaker, a good friend of R&R's and the industry in general. This is called the 2025 No B.S. Internet Marketing Plan for Restoration Contractors. He's the founder and CEO of Ironclad Restoration Marketing, a digital agency specializing in the restoration industry since 2015, author of the No Bullshit Guide for Internet Marketing for Restoration Contractors. He also hosts the very, very popular Restoration Rundown podcast and shares strategies to grow restoration businesses through his publications and speaking engagements. Please welcome from Ironclad Marketing, Mr. Ben Riccardi.
Very popular. Ben on here talking to you guys. A lot of craziness going on in the world today. If you guys don't mind, I'm going to just open us up in a quick blessing. So if you guys would oblige, just bow your heads. We'll get to this. Dear Lord, thank you for this day, God. Thank you for all the blessings that you give us in our lives, Lord. And most of all, thank you for the opportunity to stand up on stage with all these like-minded entrepreneurs, restoration business owners. My prayer today is that every single person in this room would take away something to help them impact their business, their families, their co-workers, their employees, and their community. So Lord, I just want to thank you for that blessing. It's in your name we pray. Amen. Amen. All right, y'all. Good morning. That was a great session from Rocky. Love that guy. He's been on the podcast a couple times. I want to welcome you in this morning to the 2025 No B.S. Internet Marketing Plan. Now, I will give you a caveat. I wrote a book titled about the same thing, but we're changing it up a little bit because literally every time I hit publish, as soon as I sent this in to the people at BNP, Google updated some things. So the caveat is there's probably going to be some BS in this presentation. So don't take all of this as anything besides anything but like some general rules of thumb that you need to do to get your business rolling, all right? What we're going to cover, we're going to talk a little bit about common, head on over to their website and you can search my name out and find me pretty easily there. I have over 10 years experience in digital marketing, specifically in the restoration industry. And I do own and operate a commercial site development company. So while I'm not dealing with the residential people like a lot of you guys are, or even the commercial property damage, we're building everything outside. So I do understand some of the problems there, especially with receivables and things like that in marketing. Although they're very different businesses, there's a lot of verticals and there's a lot of similarities there. All right, we're trying to triple the sales of 1,000 restoration contractors. We're on our way. But even if it's 30, 40, 50, I don't care. My job here and what I really love to do at the end of the day is help people. I spend the majority of my time in the business now creating content, taking time out of my day to create things that'll help people either reaffirm what they're doing is right, as it's a lot to step in with an agency and spend a ton of money, and it's really ambiguous. You don't really know what's going on a lot of times. So one of the missions I have here is to make a difference in this way. All right, I usually ask this question to everybody in the crowd. I'm not going to ask you guys anything. I'm going to rhetorical question this one. So I want to talk about some of the most common reasons that digital marketing efforts fail. And I really love that there's other marketing agencies in here because I can't wait to see these when we start talking about what you guys might be doing wrong that are not helping your marketing. So all these years, these are the few of the big ones that we've kind of come up with. There's a lot of options out there, let's face it, right? You're getting pulled in 150 different directions. Social media marketing, SEO, pay-per-click, LSA, Google Business Profile stuff, all the stuff in between, buying leads from Inquiry and 33 Mile. Where are you going to spend your budget, right? Typically, you want to do what works. But unfortunately, a lot of people have this shiny new object syndrome where they're looking around, they're dealing with something with SEO, and it's really not bearing fruit right away, so they're right on to the next thing. A lot of you guys out there treat marketing as a magic pill. It's not. There is no such thing as a magic pill to get you to success. So please do not treat a marketing agency, whoever they are, like a magic pill that's going to save your business. You are going to be very disappointed at the end of the day, and you're going to be back into the people that are on here with the mismanaged expectations and a lack of consistency. The only way you're going to win online or anything in your life is going to be consistently doing things every day and trying to improve. A lot of you have a lot of tasks. If you can relate to that, you're like a plate spinner at the circus. You're here spinning one up for HR, you're AR, you're doing procurement, you're trying to train salespeople, you're doing all the stuff that Rocky talked about in his meeting. And marketing is usually that plate that's doing this and just falling on the ground. And a lot of times you don't care because you're living in a crisis mode. So you don't really have the time to nurture that stuff to be able to grow the proper way. You're always living for that next check. You're shorting vendors here, and it's a very common problem in this industry and most industries. A lot of people are head in the sand, guys. Meaning they put their head in the sand, they hire a marketing agency, they don't know what they're doing, they don't know what their KPIs are, they have no idea, they just know I'm giving you this money and I want money back. not the way to do it. So hopefully there's a really good opportunity you're going to have by being here today. This will switch. Really what we want to do at the end of the day is create clear goals with a system or a plan to achieve those goals, and utilize the proper online channels to be able to generate a very good pipeline of leads and to really just get some ROI. I'm sure most of you are tired of spending a ton of money really not getting much in return, especially when it comes to marketing or the nasty three-letter word called SEO. So we're going to dispel some of that stuff and get things rolling the right way for you. First step is being omnipresent. And nobody doesn't know, you guys don't know what that means. It really is just meaning dominating, using your business and getting visibility in all of the channels that your target customers are going to be searching for when they're looking for your services. You have a unique opportunity in this industry more than anybody else because people need your services now. They're not trying to find the best steak in Punta Gorda like I did for 6 hours last night. They're looking for somebody to come remediate property damage, right? So we don't want to have them find you. We want to make it really easy for them. That includes a website dominating Google with SEO, LSA, Google Business Profile, and the maps. And it really even boils down to being involved in things like this. Networking with your peers, being involved in all of the associations that you possibly can fit into your schedule, because at the end of the day, like we're doing now, iron sharpens iron. And you'll also kind of maybe accelerate that learning curve when it comes to most things. So joining these national, regional, getting involved in your community, sponsor charities, farm where you live. You need to make an impact and be visible. Now, it might not directly relate to getting you business in, but it keeps it similar to social media, where it's that top of mind referral mentality. You guys just don't want to exist in that chaos mode. You want to make a difference in your community. One of the ways you can do that is creating really helpful video content. Now, this is going to lean into, when we talk about SEO, Google Business, and video marketing, video content's really easily digestible. And one video, as I'll show you later, I'm not a math guy, but I know how to make 1 = 5. So helpful video content is going to set you apart from everybody else, and we'll talk a little bit about that in the AI portion too, and why it's really important for you guys to be able to start getting comfortable pulling your phones out and teaching somebody on your digital channels. All right, so I talked a little bit before about taking this back to the fundamentals. But before we start any kind of online marketing program or any marketing in general, even as the traditional boots on the ground and sending EDDM mailers, we want to talk about what marketing really is, because it boils down to 3 channels. Market, who it is that you're marketing to, the message, what you're going to say that's going to resonate with them. We're addressing their fears, their wants, their desires, and listen, every single person, every single industry is different. And then the media is how you're going to present that to everybody. All right, so let's take a look at your market. A lot of people don't understand this. You have to get very granular with your market, right? Are you chasing commercial work only? Are you chasing mold? Are you chasing water damage in residential? Because I'll tell you, those are 3 very different people with very different fears, very different wants, very different financial situations. You know, the commercial property managers have PTSD from dealing with other restoration companies. I'm sure in most cases this isn't their first loss. So your message has to be catered to them. What makes you the best choice for them to do their property damage restoration? So really spend some time. The workbook that's at the end of this that you guys can download with a QR code gives you a little bit of a thing that you can put together. So get together with your team and really get granular. Who you want to work with. Is it property owners? Is it homeowners? Is it house husbands or housewives? By the way, love to be a house husband one day. Sounds like a really good gig. You just really need to figure that out, because you really need to craft a message that's going to resonate with them, right? What makes you the best choice for them to use you for property damage restoration? If you were in here for Rocky's presentation, a couple things he touched on were great. Do you offer same-day service? You know, if you're dealing with residential clients, they're probably afraid you're going to come in and track mud all over their brand new carpets when you're going to fix a flood in their bathroom or remediate some mold, or the recon guys. So you want to address that right off the bat with your messaging. All right, 5-star rating on Google is a great thing to display. If you're not displaying your Google reviews on your website, you're missing out on a big opportunity to build trust with these people right off the bat before they even pick up the phone and call you. The showing up within an hour, great thing. If you do that, awesome, put it on your website. And we're going to talk about your media, which is the how, in a second. So kind of take a few minutes. Once we're done, once you get back in, and start putting this together. What makes you unique? Why are you the best? Because everybody in here feels like they're the best. If you don't, you probably want to stay for a few more sessions today and try to get some confidence in your business. But the fact that you're here today means a lot more, because your competition is not. So you guys are already a little more serious about your businesses as most people out there. All right, so media, for the purposes of this, we're going to talk about your website. Your website is the hub of all of the information that you should be putting together for this unique messaging. All right, it should be professional looking. You should have a good looking logo. Your neighbor's aunt, sister's son that works next door to an IT shop, he shouldn't have been the one that built your website. Have somebody competent building your website and understand the fundamentals of website development that are going to help with conversion. Because you all know if you've spent money on digital marketing, it's very expensive to get traffic to your website. Conversions make you money. All right, so the answer sometimes is not get more traffic, it's how can we capitalize on these. Even if it's 10 people coming to your website a month from an organic search, how do we capitalize on more of that? And that boils down to your website structure in a lot of cases, right? So housekeeping wise, if you haven't built a website, you're trying to go out on your own, a couple things you want to do, make sure you own your own domain. Do not ever let anybody buy a domain on your behalf. I don't care if it's a trusted employee, a cousin, buy it in your name, and it's as easy as setting up a GoDaddy account, purchasing the domain, and you own it now. Same thing with web hosting. You never want to give, I've seen nightmares in this 10 years where people get held hostage. There's some big agencies out there that do this, and this is their platform, and it works really good for some people. But if you invest $50,000, $60,000 over a few years in marketing, website included, and then you decide, hey, this agency's not for me anymore, and you want to sever ties, really check out your contracts. They may own your website, may own your content and the hosting, and you're starting right over from scratch. So it's a really good idea. It's just the same as sending somebody else to open up your business, get the GC license in their name. You'd never start a business and let somebody else go get a GC license in their name. You never know what's going to happen in a few years. All right. You want to make sure you use WordPress as a CMS if you're thinking about using a website. It's the most search engine friendly web platform out there. Any web developer worth their salt can work on a WordPress site. So if you do have an issue with a developer or you have an in-house team and you want to get rid of it and move on, usually, if everything is there right, somebody else can jump in that website and work on it. Heck, I even can build on WordPress websites, pat myself on the back. You want to optimize this website. We'll talk a little bit about some of these things here soon for user experience, right? I talked before about these people having an immediate need. Don't make it hard for them to get in touch with you. Page speed's important. I know you guys have maybe been to a website where it just spins and doesn't load. That's going to affect your rankings and it's going to affect your conversions, all right? Again, recap, professional looking, clickable phone numbers, all of the most important information above the fold, and that's an old newspaper adage where all the most important things on the newspaper where you didn't have to unfold it to read it. That's why most newspapers are, the name of the newspaper is this big on the front page. They own that real estate. That's really good real estate for you, especially in the emergency services category. They're not looking for a stake. They're looking for somebody to come help them out with typically catastrophic property damage. So make it really easy to get in touch. Clickable phone number is always a great idea. It loads fast. Have that USP right there in front of their face, a video right there that they can watch to build that trust with them right off the bat. And making sure that this is just set up to convert. I cannot stress enough that conversions make you money. All right, so let's make sure we build this to convert. Optimizing for mobile. This is kind of antiquated, but I still feel it's relevant. A lot of people build these sites, and WordPress right out the gate is going to give you a mobile version of the website. So if developers are telling you, oh, we're building you a mobile site, they're really just building you a regular site, and it's already converting via WordPress. But you still need to take a look at your website on a mobile device and make sure those same principles apply. Make sure you have those conversion fundamentals. Make sure it looks professional. Make sure it's really easy to get in touch with you. Make sure you have a clickable phone number, a call to action right in front of their face where they find you from a Google search that you have everything you need, who you are, what you do, and where you do it, and a way to get in touch before they have to scroll anywhere. Google, 100 years ago, switched over to a mobile-first indexing anyway, so if you don't have a good mobile site, you're probably not going to get very good rankings in organic or maps either. All right, so making sure you know your target customer to figure out the messaging that's going to resonate with them, making sure your website speaks to that customer and all of your marketing, by the way, not just the website, but all the stuff we're going to talk about in the Google Business Profile section, social media, all that stuff needs to speak to that person. Build that website to convert those eyeballs into sales. Make sure it's optimized for mobile, all part of the conversion spot. Check your page speed. Here's a URL for this. So when you guys do, if you do download this deck, you can always check your own website right there. I do it obsessively. My team gets a little annoyed. I'm always looking on our website, making sure that we can optimize this to have a better user experience. Make sure you have the basics in order, good looking logo. Logos, a lot of people are attached to logos. Some of the older folks in the industry built a logo in 1991 on Microsoft Clip Art. They're really stuck to it. It's wrapped on 2 of their trucks. You know, you got to take a look at that and make sure you're not antiquated, make sure you're building a brand. Rocky Hensley is a great guy to talk to about that branding. You know, the One Tom Plumber logo, he put a lot of time into that, but it works. And that's just a testament to this type of stuff with branding your business. All right? So number 1, let's talk about the channels that you want to attack online, right? I haven't heard of anybody leaving a Bing review yet, really, or a whole lot either anyway, so Google reviews are the ones we're going to talk about. So what do you see when you see a Google legend? A lot of times we talk to prospects, we talk to people in the industry, and we'll say, where are you getting your leads at? And they're like, oh, the internet. I'm like, that's a little vague, I think Facebook's on the internet, and so is pay-per-click, and so is SEO, or so is your website, so really what it is, they really don't know. Like, oh, we're getting a bunch of leads from our landing pages, so we automatically think LSA, or pay-per-click, and really at the end of the day, they're not getting any of that done. So really understanding how a Google search breaks down to understand these 3 different channels is pretty important. So we'll go back over it. The first thing you see when you do a search for water damage restoration in Chicago, I believe it is, are going to be the Google guarantee, the LSA section, the Google ads section. Listen, Google's monetizing this. They're using their real estate just like a newspaper, putting their name as big as they possibly can, and then the how much it costs about this big and like that long now. I think newspapers are getting up there if they even exist anymore. Anybody get the newspaper still? No. One of my neighbors does, and I always think about taking it just to see what it says. But anyways, the second section you're going to see is the most prominent section, really, in my opinion. Your bread and butter as home service industry people is the Google Business Profile section, or the Maps section of Google. Most home service leads are coming from this section, so it's something you do not want to ignore. We're going to get into that a little bit more in the Google Business Profile section, and then right under that, the foundation of all of your digital marketing efforts is the organic section. This is the non-paid listings, a direct result of that bad 3-letter word SEO that we talked about earlier. These are the results that come up when you search something organically. These are going to typically link to a service page on your website, and it's all about building authority in Google's eyes to climb those rankings and having the right content on the website. But each one of these sections you want to dominate, right? If you've got the budget, LSA is huge, pay-per-click in certain circumstances, your Google Business Profile and Maps, and your organic section. All right? I like to call the organic section the garden of getting leads, right? So it takes you a lot of time, 3 to 6 months, even longer, to rank well for those high qualified keywords, especially in a saturated market. It's going to take you a long time. It's like growing a garden. You don't go out hungry and decide to throw some seeds in the ground and then expect to walk out the next day and you've got a garden grown and you can eat. Google organic search is kind of the same thing. So it's a garden. It's still going to take an investment of time, money. You're still going to have to maintain it, keep the pests out. But at some point, this thing is going to bear fruit and it's evergreen. All right, you get the best ROI from organic search. However, it takes some time. So we utilize pay-per-click and LSA as the grocery store. Right, you've got to keep your trucks on the road. You've got to keep those leads coming in. That's a great channel to utilize while you're waiting for your garden to grow in the organic section and your map section. So let's talk about building the garden. SEO, search engine optimization, this is the process of getting your website ranked higher and higher on the search engine, Google. These algorithms update frequently, as you heard when I was talking about my book. It's mind-numbing, but you have to make sure you're kind of on top of some of this stuff. There's a lot that can affect your website. There was just a core update that happened. A lot of people lost a lot of organic rankings, and if you're doing the right things in most cases, you'll start to see yourself climb back up. I liken it to getting dunked underwater. Or falling out of an airplane into the water. You're going to go down to a certain extent depending on how far down you fell. But if you're doing the right thing and swimming, you're going to end up popping back up and being able to breathe again. All right, we call that the garden again. Why do you need it? Well, 90% of the people in this world, I think it's even higher, like 98% of people start their internet experience on a search engine. 69% of web traffic comes from local search, but I think the statistic, and I didn't put it on here because it's changed, most home service companies are not optimizing at all for local search. And if they are, they're not doing it right. So you have a really good opportunity to really capitalize on that fact just by doing the bare minimum when it comes to your website and some of the things we're going to talk about. Again, you don't want to be on page 2. That's where we like to hide dead bodies. I'm a Florida man. I've come from about 2 hours east of here. Page 2, everybody knows that in West Palm Beach where I'm from. That's where you put all the dead people. You have to get rid of them. All right, so you don't want to be page 2, but you're going to be there. And if you're climbing and you're building a keyword portfolio, you start there. You start on page 10 or not even ranked, and the idea would be to get that real estate on page 1. All right, remember, I don't care what agency, I don't care who they are, I don't care if you meet a guy in a bar like one of us have at one point that says they work with Google or they have a friend that works at Google. There are no guarantees when it comes to digital marketing. That would be, not only are there 400-something ranking factors, but there's so many other things. In fact, if you do a Google search for, can somebody guarantee, placement on a search engine, emphatically Google says no, and actually run the other direction if somebody tells you that. All right, so just remember, this is a game of optimization, and it's a time game and strategy. And if you partner with the right agency, you're going to be on the right path. But you have to be consistent. You have to go away from those things when we talk about common problems, bouncing around from agency to agency after a couple months because it's really not working. Again, if you're only paying them for organic or SEO, you've got 6 months minimum runway you're gonna need to have to really get yourself together. So you need to have a plan to supplement your business beforehand. That's why we use LSA or pay-per-click, and there's other things that you can do as well in more of the traditional marketing matters. All right, how do you get listed? Well, you need to have a website. I say that and it sounds stupid, but I've had a client tell me, oh, we've been paying an agency for about 2 years, a lot of money, and back when this happened, it was probably 10 years ago, a couple thousand, $2,500 a month in that industry, which is astounding. I'm like, wow, you gotta be killing it online. So what's your website URL? They don't know. In fact, they didn't have a website. So I don't know what this company was doing. They might have been running some landing pages for them or doing some maybe black hat stuff, but it's important to have that. You want to have a device responsive. One thing too, if you guys have an older website and you just have your services listed on the home page or on a services page and they're just bullet points with no content, not doing you any favors. That's like having a business card that you don't take out of your car and give to people. If you want Google to index your site, you need to have a separate page for every single service that you want to be ranked for. They have to be keyword rich, minimum 500 words of content, but it changes in each one of your territories. So the best thing I can say, outside of using a tool or hiring a great agency, is go look at your competition that's beating you on Google and do a word count, how many words they have on their page. Sometimes you need 1,000, sometimes you need 1,500 of keyword rich, authoritative content that's spoken to in your voice. We'll talk a little bit about this your voice thing when we get to the AI section, because there is no way to circumvent Google's best practices. They're going to find you out. So if you're using AI just to bust out a bunch of content, eventually you're going to be one of those people that gets dumped under the water and you don't rise up again. All right. Proper on-page optimization. I don't have enough time to talk about on-page optimization, but it's really how Google is reading your website. So making sure you have the right title tags, meta descriptions in the back end. Google crawls your website. They check out, well, what's this website all about? And they're a librarian and they put it in the right spot. So you got to make sure you have that down pat. If you're doing a DIY person and you're using WordPress like I suggested, there's a ton of free plugins that'll at least give you some sort of guideline to follow step by step on what you need to do to properly title and optimize these pages so you can rank on a search engine. Google Search Console is a great tool as well, and you should be using it if you're doing this on your own. It'll tell you what's being ranked and what's not. User experience and the speed of your website is a major factor. Desktop and mobile, you'll get a different score if you go to that pagespeed.web.dev URL I told you guys about. You can check your website out. They'll actually give you a graded score and then give you actionable things that you can do to fix it. You need to be building internal, external backlinks. Backlinks is probably a buzzy word you've heard. It's really just other business listing sites that refer back to your website, have a URL for your website, and then you vice versa kind of link in between them. Google Business Profiles one, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all the other business directories your agency should be setting you up with online when they're getting their SEO set up. Internal links are creating an ecosystem of information and value-based content within your website. For instance, if you have a water damage restoration page and you refer to a what to do when you have a flood in your home blog that's on your website, that's considered an internal link. So you may be ranking that blog on a long-tail keyword. You want that blog to link back to that water damage page or whatever page is relevant to the keyword you want to be ranked for in order for them to take action, right? So you just want to keep them there. Google does rate how long they stay on your website. It's part of your analytics. It's called bounce rates, something you should be looking at. So we want to keep them there as long as possible. I talk about relevant content. Helpful. Google wants helpful, authoritative, authentic content, whether that's written or images or videos. Doing just that is going to set you apart from 90% of your competition. Most people are just set it and forget it on the website, spend a ton of money on their marketing, and just cross their fingers and say, Jesus, take the wheel. If you want to do this right, you need to be speaking in your voice. You need to talk to somebody that you're wanting to do business with, that person you want to resonate, like you are telling them what your services are about. You're the one telling them what to do when they have water damage. Does that make sense? And Google wants that. Optimized Google Business Profile is a major one. Back in the day, and gosh, it's probably been a while, it was an afterthought, right? You set up, it was Google Places, Google Plus, Google My Business, all the different names it's had over the years. Speaking of which, writing the book's been a challenge when they keep changing the name. I hope they stick with this one for a little while. That's big because it used to be an afterthought. You get a couple reviews from your uncles and cousins, and then you leave it alone. Well, now they are tied directly into your organic results. So if you're spending money with an agency, you might have been there for 5 years, and you're getting okay results, and they're not optimizing your Google Business Profile, and you're not, you might as well dump a bucket of water in the gasoline that you're using to grow your business. You're missing out on a major opportunity to get better rankings and more conversions on your website. So let's talk about it. Anybody in here does not have a Google Business Profile that's active, claimed, and verified? Nice. That's good. So you guys are seasoned pros when it comes to Google Business Profile. Anybody in here still call it Google My Business? No? All right. So as I told you before, your Google Business Profile, or GBP, as we like to call it here, it's in the biz name. It's one of the most important channels you need to be focusing on. Number one, it's free. I like that word. I like things that are free that help me make more money. Google Business Profile is one of those things. Most of your home service leads are going to come from it, all right? We're South Florida. We get a hurricane hit. Our Wi-Fi is not working. We're not going to be able to get on a desktop. The first thing we're going to do is search out somebody to help us. The first thing we're going to see is the map section, and we're going to click on one of those right from there. That's just one reason, all right? You have to get reviews. I cannot understate this enough. Google reviews are probably one of the biggest things that you could be doing for your business to climb in rankings and to help conversions that you could possibly be doing. Again, consistent reviews is key, right? People aren't going to look at reviews from 6 years ago. They're typically like me. I look at the reviews, they look good. I'm going to look at the worst review and then see how you answered that. And I want to see the frequency, and Google wants to see frequency in those answers as well, all right? Posting job photos on your Google Business Profile, listen, it's almost like a social media account, right? So if you're going to spend time posting on Instagram and showing off your before and afters, that's not going to get you a lick of work. You should be doing the same thing on your Google Business Profile and then linking that to your website, and then vice versa, those internal, external links. Video. Video is going to be the next wave. Because of all the tools AI is bringing about, and it's moving at breakneck speeds, video is one of the ways that you cannot allow anybody to hide from you being authentically you. I mean, eventually one day somebody's going to probably make an AI that looks just like you. You can make video pretty quick. But right now, if you're not making video content, get your phone out and make content that's going to help people. Make content that's relevant to the types of services you want to rank for. Make content to help people know what to do when a hurricane hits, or know what to do if their roof starts leaking, or if they get a bathroom flood. You know, teach them something. Start with your FAQs, but keep this. If there's anything you take away from today, is to start utilizing video content more and more. Talked already about this, a few of these things, but just to recap, it's tied directly to your maps listings and your organic results. Again, if you're spending money on SEO and you're not doing this, wasting your time and money, you know, you have a lot more power with your Google Business Profile than you did before. You can track calls directly from your Google Business Profile with a call tracking service as well. And a lot of the ranking factors is based off proximity, but you can help yourself out a lot posting content, posting pictures directly from the areas that you serve, right? You guys are service area businesses, so you need to make sure you have that setting in there and properly optimize it. At the end, I've got a QR code for a ton of free resources. There's a Google Business Profile 101 on there, so you can kind of just gut check yourself. There's going to be something on just general marketing, and we have an LSA guide as well. You can't abbreviate street if it's not abbreviated everywhere else. It might be a little nuanced there, but it's important to keep things consistent. All right, and get reviews. If the customer can, have them upload photos. Now, reviews are hard to get in your world. All right, I understand that. But they're so important and so powerful for your visibility and conversions. You need to figure out and put together systems on how to get those more frequently. An easy way is bother the hell out of somebody. Ask for that review right when you're done, right when they're the happiest, right when this housewife or husband's walking into their brand new bathroom that just got recon. That's when your tech needs to ask for the review, but you need to have those systems built out in your company and hold everybody accountable to it, because like Rocky said, if you sat in there, everybody should be understanding of the profit and how your distribution of the company profits go. And if you can incentivize them somehow internally that comes up with something that's not nefarious or underhanded, I implore you to do so, because they're very important. All right, 87% of customers that you're going to talk to read those reviews, so they matter. I don't think I need to bang this in your head every day. Also, it'll help your LSA ranking. So if you're running LSA, which we're going to talk about here, reviews are going to be important there. And by the way, if you don't have a Google Business Profile, and you should know this by now because I think it changed in November, you will not be able to set up an LSA. So you need a verified Google Business Profile, a certain amount of reviews in order to get your LSA going.
What's our LSA?
Local service ads, the Google Guarantee. I'll show you a picture of them here. I think I broke it down. So the difference is between organic, like I said, organic's the garden, pay-per-click, and they're all run on Google Ads, is the grocery store, all right? You get faster results, but as soon as you stop paying, you go away. So the idea is to run a combination of these within budget, that combination of both of these things in order to get yourself the visibility you need. Just remember, SEO is the garden, LSA and pay-per-click is the grocery store. Pay-per-click, PPC, stands for pay-per-click, meaning you bid on a keyword like water damage restoration, and it's very competitive. The prices are going up. If you guys have been running this lately, and there's not a great ROI in a lot of circumstances. Storm chasing, cat season stuff, great place for PPC if you want to project your work. Like for instance, if you're in West Palm Beach like me, it's a 2-hour drive here, and I want to send crews to this area for the hurricanes that hit a couple years ago, I would utilize pay-per-click. all right? Because then you can set up landing pages and you can start getting your crews out there. And ones that are successful in this will go out, they'll turn them on, spend a certain amount of money, a lot of money sometimes, they'll get a certain amount of work and then they shut them off when they're busy, right? They're very effective for the storm chasing guys, right? Or targeted campaigns outside of your area. But you pay per click, so every single time somebody clicks on that ad, you're paying a fee. Best practices is if you are, make sure you're using some sort of click fraud protection. We use ClickSeize. I've seen horrible situations where people have set a budget and spent 10 grand in a day and didn't get one single lead because they didn't have click fraud protection. Maybe one of their competition or maybe just some bored person was just clicking on their ad and they search and they click back on it. You're paying good money for those clicks. So make sure you have that. Start with some negative keywords. Negative keywords are things you don't want to rank for. Go ahead.
Can you mention what do you use? You say
ClickSeize, yeah, it's up there. ClickSeize, yep. Make sure you start with negative keywords. Negative keywords are things you don't want to rank for. So it really stinks to run a water damage restoration campaign on pay-per-click and you've got tenants in an apartment complex calling you and saying their bathroom's leaking. You know you can't do anything about that. That just cost you $150 and now you're out there trying to figure out how to get in touch with a property manager. Make sure you have negative keywords in place. We start with our clients with 1,000 and we build on that every single month. Right? So check your agencies. If somebody's running pay-per-click, make sure you need to be involved in this negative keyword because only you are going to be able to answer whether or not they're negative keywords or not, right? So make sure that you're kind of auditing that every once in a while to make sure you're not wasting money. LSA, something you definitely, if you're not running them, that has been one of the best channels for our clients to get leads. Blows pay-per-click out of the water. It's a pay-per-lead model versus a pay-per-click. So Google calls it the Google guarantee because they guarantee the lead that they're sending you. Right? So there's a lot of ins and outs when it comes to LSA to make sure you're optimizing it and make sure you're ranking properly. But it's great. It's cost effective. They're the first results you see on Google. They have vetted you. You need to have, you provide a COI. You have to provide your certification. So in your case, is IICRC certifications. They do a comprehensive background check. It's a great source of leads and you're only paying for qualified ones. So being involved in it is very important for you to be able to spend your money the right way. All right, we talked about this a little bit. The 3 Google reviews was the case. So they used to have LSA and your Google Business Profile separate. They merged them. Thank you, got 10 minutes. So you got to make sure you have that in order before you get going, okay? And those are some of the requirements that they have. Responsiveness to calls and messages for your Google LSA. You got to respond to these leads within 15 minutes or they're going to send them to somebody else and they're going to take that into consideration when you want to rank, right? So if you're not answering these leads, it's no different than not answering your phone if you offer 24/7 emergency service. They're going to call the next guy, all right? Have the people, you rate each lead when they come in and then get reviews. The reviews, if you concentrate on anything, get your reviews after these things go through here, all right? So you want to dominate on Google, you got to take over the real estate. You have to have that optimized website, keyword-rich content, separate page for each one of your services. You build that foundation of SEO for that organic search, that evergreen area that we talked about. Utilize SEO because we know, utilize pay-per-click and LSA because SEO can take 6 months to a year to rank for all your stuff, right? If you're in Dallas, Texas, and you want to be #1 for water damage restoration, good luck. It's going to take you a little time and work. So there's all these other things and modalities you can use to help stoke that fire so you can climb those rankings. All right? And again, take over page 1 of Google, and you're going to be on the right step. Social media. We don't offer social media services as an agency because I feel that every single one of you guys out there can run your own social media platforms. If you've ever hired somebody to run your social media, you have to understand that you are the point person. You're the one sending them the pictures. You're the one sending them the content to write on the captions of the pictures. You're doing every little thing except for posting that post. My suggestion is to get good at doing that yourself. Get somebody in your office to post something on social media, authentic content, before and afters, testimonials. A lot of agencies out there, if they're running social media, you're going to see posts like National Waffle Day. That's not going to get you many restoration clients. Social media is a great channel to use though. So it's good for top of mind mentality, referral. When you are active in your community, social media is a great place to advertise and just show people that you're there. It's about brand awareness. It's a little bit more intrusive of a marketing tactic. Nobody's going on Facebook to find a flood damage repair or mold remediator. They're going on Facebook to waste time, right? So just keep that in mind when you're trying to figure out what channel to utilize or spend your time and money on, all right? You can run ads. We've had some success on running Facebook ads during cat season for hurricanes for people. So if you have the ability to put together a nice little 30-second video and you want to run some Facebook ads in there, we've seen some success with that as well. Oh, and never buy followers. I don't know if anybody still does that, but man, a few years ago that was rampant. You'd see in Water Damage Restoration Connection, Restoration Rebels, guys in there offering, they bet you 10,000 followers on Instagram. It just makes 0 sense. You're basically buying people that aren't going to engage with your content. They're not going to take action and do any work with you at all. It just makes you feel good having 20,000 followers and then a post that has 1 like on it. Video. I'm going to spend a little time on this. Remember, this is an area of contention. YouTube is the 2nd most used search engine in the world. People are seeking out video content. Make sure you have systems and processes to develop consistent video content. More important than anything, especially now with AI changing the game as far as written content. Video is really important, and it also allows people to get to know you before they even take action. Having a welcome video on your homepage or website, A+. Talk about who you are, what you do, your mission statement with your business, and people are going to feel a little more comfortable. Because remember, you have to build a lot of trust, especially on the homeowner side, to have them take action with you. All right? You can also use videos to build case studies. You can do before and after, so a walkthrough on a really bad flood or a fire job, in progress, and at the end, putting together a 30-second video of people so happy. I mean, that's powerful, powerful content. I mentioned before, we talk about math. I'm not great at math, but I know how to make 1 = 5. If you make 1 video, you should syndicate that video across all your platforms. That's a social media post, a YouTube post on your channel. You post it on your website, on a blog, transcribe it, send it out in an email newsletter, put it everywhere. Put it on your LinkedIn. Everything you do, every piece of content takes you a lot of time, especially if you're the plate spinner and you're doing it all yourself. So let's squeeze as much juice out of that lemon as you possibly can. And kind of last but not least, track and measure. If you don't track something, you're not going to know how to improve it. You're not going to know if it needs to be improved. So if you're that head in the sand business owner, and we can all be guilty of that sometimes, take your head out of the sand and take a look at the minimum, be present. If you're paying an agency to do this stuff for you, be present in these monthly marketing meetings or weekly, whatever you have worked out with them, so you can really understand what it is they're doing, if it's working, and if they're on the right track and ask the right questions. The worst thing you can ever have as an agency owner, and the other agency owners will probably agree, is going 6 months and you are killing it for somebody, and they pop on the phone on month 7 where they might have got half the LSA leads, say, hey, this isn't working. What's going on? What have you guys been doing? We're like, we didn't realize the other 350 leads we've sent you into 6 months. Now you're focusing in, and now they're looking at their website, and you're like, well, this is wrong. This isn't the color of our trucks, and it just becomes an issue. So be present as much as you possibly can and fit in your schedule. You're spending money. You might as well understand what you're spending it on. All right, if anybody's ever seen Terminator 2, one of my favorite movies ever, anybody in there a Terminator 2 Judgment Day fan? It's happening. Skynet has become self-aware, so get ready. Start tactically training in the woods. Or, for the purposes of marketing, AI is moving really fast. All right, it's going to be in the next 3 or 4 months. I don't even know where things are going to be online, how people are searching. AI is just kind of integrating itself into everything we do in the restoration world. There's a lot changing on your side, on the carrier side with AI. I mean, good luck getting somebody on the phone nowadays. You know, you might be talking to somebody for 30 minutes and realize it's a computer. It's incredible. I tried to buy tickets to a Renaissance festival in my area, and I talked to somebody with a really good medieval vibe. I mean, they were like, oh, vast ye, sir. And I'm like, this is great. This is going to be fun. I'm going to take my kids here. And when I asked a specific question that I wanted to, it turned into a robot, so we can't answer that question, and directed me to an email. Imagine how powerful that would be for your answering services if you can train AI to answer the phone for you after hours and alert your text. Just be aware of it. A lot of people out there, if you're DIY, a lot of marketing agencies are using AI to generate content. That's great, but just keep in mind that it needs to be authentic to you. ChatGPT is going to write some stuff up. You better check it. You better not copy paste. Google does have tools, and they're going to see if it's AI generated content or not. And I would imagine that they're going to weigh content that you wrote yourself versus ChatGPT a little bit differently. If you're not being authoritative and you're not offering value, you're probably not going to get a lot out of that. All right. So I would use it. Just don't use it. Use it as a crutch. Use it to help you build a baseline. If you're using it for content, I'm always open to exploring all the different things. Just make sure you're not getting the shiny new object syndrome. Right now, as it is, Google Business Profile, your SEO and organic search, and the LSA program, and being healthy on page 1 of Google is key. Everything else is supplementary once you get these things working good, getting good reviews. All right. Just make sure it's easy to read, straightforward. All right, so if anything today, make sure you're identifying who your target client is. One of the most important things you do before you spend a dime on marketing. Build a website and talk to them. That's going to convert. Implement those 3 channels I talked about. Utilize social media the right way, and then just be omnipresent. Get involved. Get involved with this, R&R. Get involved with the RA. Do it all. And be involved in your local networks. Use your peers to help you, and use that adage of iron sharpening iron. Make sure you utilize that. There is no competition in this world. There's plenty of work for everybody. All right, so here's our stuff. If you want to take a picture of this slide again, we need to do a QR code. I'm not sure which QR code goes to what anymore. It's been a while. But here's our website. I have like 400 videos on YouTube with little marketing bites and little things to go. That can teach you to get you on the right track. R&R has a spot for us, the Ironclad Marketing Minute. It's a little bit more current because I'm making that content every day. Check out the Restoration Rundown podcast. I'm streaming everywhere. And if you think you're a good candidate for a guest, you have a great story about your business, or you have some things that you want to teach somebody, I'd love to have you on and talk to you a little bit. It's a really cool platform for you guys to kind of get out everything that you need to have people learn. So here's the free download QR code. This is the 2025, this deck, Google Business Profile 101, LSA checklist, Internet Marketing checklist. These are current as of like 2 weeks ago. I can't tell you that it might be wrong right now. I haven't checked any of the new search engine land updates yet. You'll be able to get a hold of this deck. Somebody will email it over to you right away. And JC, back in the back here, has given everybody cards. If you haven't had one, there's a QR code on there as well. If you guys want to schedule a strategy session, we can just help you out with everything. Take a look at what you got going on marketing-wise. Go ahead and scan that code. It's just an email, no strings attached. We'll help you out, take a look at it. I'm going to be here for the next few hours, at least to the night. So if you guys have any specific questions for JC or I, love to sit down and get to know you a little bit. Want to be a guest on the podcast, give me a holler. We got good time. Anybody have any questions? We've got 2 minutes.
Yeah, what is your vision for the pay-per-click in the future? Because now you see that everybody's getting their phones and say, hey, come, I have a water damage, please. Who is available close to me? Nobody's going to use the pay-per-click. What is your vision about?
Well, Google's it's changing a lot. So if you notice that there's the position 0 that used to be the bulleted list, now you're having the generative AI. I would say create content on your site that anybody can understand, that's helpful, bulleted, and concise. Don't worry about stuffing a bunch of keywords in there. You just want to make it easy for the AI to read it. In general, we've been scaling back PPC a little bit and focusing a little bit more on LSA, just because we're getting a better ROI. But it's anybody's guess right now. It's moving so fast. And Google, and traditionally, will make these sweeping changes, and then they're going to scale it back a little bit. So hopefully Google gets a little bit better about giving some support and things like that, which they have a lot on Google Business Profile. Now you have a separate support ticket system for GBP. Anybody else?
As far as like the way AI is advancing so fast, and a lot of people are using it now, do you see that getting into Google's market and people, you changing your strategy to be more AI specific in search as opposed to Google?
I think in general, you should be optimizing your content for AI, right? Easy to read, authoritative, and concise with the right keywords in it. As far as people utilizing AI to circumvent Google's best practices, it may work right now, but it's not going to work forever. They're going to catch up eventually, and you don't want to be somebody that's doing that on a consistent basis, because you're going to have a hard time climbing out of that hole, I think. But we don't know what Google's going to roll out with. I do know Google likes to make money. Google has the lion's share of search, so they can kind of dictate the terms there in that situation, right? But if there's anybody out there you run into marketing-wise that's coming up with some idea, there used to be tools that you could use to spit out hundreds of landing pages at a time every month. Ask those people how that's working out for them now, right? It worked really great for a month or two, but eventually it's going to get caught up, and that's why they update the algorithm so frequently. They're just trying to find pertinent, authentic content and people. Locksmiths was rampant with that, right? They'd set up all these landing pages and it'd be a call center. They're trying to mitigate all that. That's where the LSA program helps out a little bit too when they're doing some vetting. That's called. I was going to yank me off the stage. Thank you guys. I appreciate you guys coming in today.